In this video, I'm going to talk you through how to make these folded paper baubles. Now, this is our most complicated of the videos, so take your time, have patience, it's really worth it. You need to have scissors, a pen, a ruler, and then some of your patterned papers you've made. Now, the first thing is to cut your paper into a manageable strip. So these sheets of paper are A3, and I'm cutting each one roughly in half. That's about the right size of paper you want to be working with. So whether you're using paper you've made yourself or bought paper, cut it down into an A3 length and then half the width. Now on the back with your ruler, you're going to make a measurement every 2 centimeters along the strip. Do this on both sides, and then you're going to connect both the measurements together to get a series of parallel lines 2 centimeters apart. Then what you need to do is draw some diagonals. So just number up the lines when you start, and what you're wanting to do is do a line across every 4, and you're doing this every other line. So you can see here there's a gap between the two and the lines are all going parallel, and I'm going to do it in both directions. So you know you've got it right if the finished result looks like this, with diamonds going down the shape, 1 in the centre and then 2 across the full length. Here, like this. Now, to make the paper easy to fold, generally with all paper crafts, what's really useful is to score the lines. So you see here, I'm going through with a relatively sharp pair of scissors and I'm scoring them. Now don't score too hard because you're using paper which is slightly light and you don't want to cut into it. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to fold over all these lines. You need to fold down all the lines to make it easier to see the shape. I'll show you later in the video another example of me doing this. And once you've got it all folded, you should see your paper looking like this. So at one end, what we need to do is first form this U shape. And this is the bit where it's very fiddly. You'll find you get into a knack for doing it, but just have a bit of patience. Once you get the first bits of the fold going, it gets much easier. So you can see here at the start, I'm just forming. Now just be delicate with the paper as you're doing it because you don't want to rip it. That's the shape you want. And then you're going to fold all the rest of it in to that same shape. So you're going to end up folding everything in until everything is in this U shape. Fiddle around with this, take your time. It will feel frustrating, but you will get there. So in order to form it into a bauble, we're just going to hole punch along each one of these little triangles. The idea being you need to hole punch through them all so that you can thread string through them. So now I'm just using any old string to go along the bottom section here. At the bottom of the bauble is going to be hidden inside the bauble. So then just tie that into a knot. You don't want to pull it in really tight, you need a little bit of looseness in there. And then for the top, you want to be using whatever ribbon you're going to then hang the bauble from. So I've got a slightly wider ribbon, which does mean it's a bit harder to feed through the bauble. So just be gentle again with this. Try not to rip it at this point. And then all you're going to do is open up the bauble and you can fold over the end of the bauble over each other to secure it. And I'll just show you after this an example of me doing another bauble so you can see me I put a bit of tape in to hold it in place. So you're just going to fold in those lips at the end. And we get our bauble. Now let's just have a look at it all again on another example. So here's another sheet. I've already marked this one up and I've already scored it. Now when I'm doing the fold, just remember, fold your vertical lines backwards, so as you fold you see the underside of the fabric, whereas for your diagonals you want to fold it onto the different side of the paper. So the vertical lines need to be folded this way, but if your horizontals, your diagonals, fold them this way. So what you need to be able to do is you want to fold it so you can't actually see which way you're going. So you're folding so the peak is coming up on the front side of the paper. So exactly as I'm doing here. See, I repeat, I'm going on both sides. And once that's all folded and it's sitting flat, you see there, you've got the shape, you've got peaks and troughs. And then here we go again, I'm going to form this U shape. So I connect up first this top of this first triangle. And then I'm going to pull the edges in, fold those corners in, and I've got my first start of the U shape. And it's from this point that I can just now gently and patiently pull the rest in. Remember, baubles like this will last you for years, so spending this time at this stage, you're going to end up with something you can keep for a long time. And you've got your accordion again. So again, we go through the process of getting it all hole punched along each of the different triangles. And we're now going to string it up. So again, I've got the bottom tied, and I'm not tying it too tight. If you tie it too tight, you'll find it too hard to fold the bauble round. And then I'm doing the top again with the thicker ribbon, and I'm just going to nudge it through. Now, again, I'm just going to show you here the fold. I'm just going to show you how I use a bit of double-sided tape to secure it in place. So this is, I'm going to put a bit of tape just on the inside edge of the last triangle on one side. You'll have a look, when you get this really in your hands, you'll be able to see how this all connects more clearly. But I'm just putting double-sided tape on these two final triangles. And then I'm going to, using the triangles over there, I'm just going to fold them over the top. So you see, they just slide over the top. And then I press them down, press them in place, press them onto that tape. And that's enough to hold it in place, because the whole shape sort of holds itself in place even if you didn't have the tape. And there you go. That's your folded paper bauble. Do take a look at our other videos if you want to find more decorations and some a little bit simpler.